Welcome to another episode of On the Capital Stand with your friend David. I am your host, alongside as every week our good friend John. John, how you doing?
Very good, David. How are you?
Pretty good, my friend. A little bit tired. As you can see, I'm home, so that's a positive. Second week in a row. A lot has happened this past week in Orlando City, so we are not going to mince around it, and we're gonna go straight to what's been happening with our club. First, John, and you're gonna get the lion's share, no pun intended, on this conversation because unfortunately, I was unable to watch the game. I was flying back from Massachusetts, landed just on time to see New York City equalize. I want to say hello to my good friend Kevin Rees and his wife who took my tickets. They were visiting from England. They're members of Orlando City, UK. A lot of love to our friends from Orlando City, UK that watched the show. Their impressions was that we scored and we just held on for dear life
Yep.
for about 85 minutes and we gave up the goal. Your opinions about it, John?
Yeah, I mean, we opened looking very bright, very good, very attacking. Put a goal in very, very early. Put a goal in the 7th minute. Kara doing what Kara does, give him service. The guy's going to put the ball in the back of the net. Not every time. He's not, immortal. But more chances than not, he's going to put the ball in the back of the net. And we scored, and slowly but surely we started parking the bus. By the time my opinion, by the time the second half started, we were really not attacking, not aggressive. You can see, I saw it throughout the replay of the game, that our back line slowly started creeping further and further back towards our defensive goal. The first half, especially the first part of the first 25 minutes of the first half, they were up near the mid circle, near the midline, and then started creeping further and further away from the central line to where they started actually being closer to our goal line, which is just evident of parking the bus. We did have a couple counter chances late, but NYCFC had the vast majority of the possession late in the second half until they scored the goal. And you can only, like I've said before, a sponge can only absorb so much water until it can't anymore. And that's kind of the story of what happened. Defensive lapse on the back end, and come away with a Poppy special at home, unfortunately. And there was kind of a microcosm of what you and I have been saying for almost an entire season now.
Mm-hmm.
Starting last season and continuing into this season, this is a way more often than not the team's going to play. I mean, the statistics from the match, we had 0.96 expected goals, less than a goal expected in the match. New York had 1.46, so almost a goal and a half. We only had 10 shots with 4 on target. This is according to FootMob, so it may be off. It's just the one I go by. New York City had 14 shots with 6 on target. Overall, it was just, they dominated us in passes, 450 passes to 379. 91% of theirs were successful. Long balls, they dominated us on long balls. The only thing that they didn't dominate us in for the most part, is passes in the own half and accurate crosses. So I mean, those just kind of tell you overall how the match went.
Mm-hmm.
After we scored the goal, and the sad part is we looked really bright in the first half. It was one of our better halves of soccer. I missed the goal the first time because David texted me, "Hey, if anything happens, text me." And as I'm responding, "Okay, I will," I hear the announcers going crazy, and then I'm like, "Oh, cool, we scored."
Yeah, sorry about that, my friend. I unfortunately my flight was delayed, and I was hoping to catch at least most of the first half before flying out. And when I discovered mid-flight that I could text, I was even better. And I remember texting you and Kevin and our friend David Hunt. I was texting anybody like, "What's the score?" And everybody pretty much responded to me at unison. And my appreciation to Kevin, who sent me a video of the goal. Um, listen, I watched the highlights, and this is the one thing I have to say. New York City looked very broken, very hurt. By the way, congratulations to their fan base. It looks like they're finally gonna have a stadium of their own. And I say this very honestly. I lived in New York. My wife is a New York native, and I have a lot of family from the city. And I know that what's good for American football as a whole, what's good for this league is good for the sport. And rivalries aside, I'm happy that they finally gonna have a good stadium. I think playing this long at Yankee Stadium has been an abomination, honestly. But that to the side, they came here, they got the goal. In my opinion, they made the changes they needed to make. We failed to adapt
Mhm.
to them, and they beat us. And one of the things that I did, if you watch the goal that we conceded against them, and you watch the two goals that we conceded against Columbus, they're the same goal.
Yep.
Basically, an attacker draws the fence and the goalkeeper to the first post, and then they go across into the second post or far post, and there it is. There's a player there for the tapping, usually in front or behind, a center back that catches that way low, way too late, and tries to keep up with the player that is coming full speed, and they scored.
Definitely.
Yeah, I think New York City studied us, and they figure out how to get the result. Um, John, I want your opinion on this because it looks like every time we concede before the first 20 minutes, I'm fearful because I just don't see us scoring any more goals after that. And it's just basically the same situation where we are defending, and rightfully so. The club got a tongue lashing from the fans, which I think most people are starting to see our tactics. And if the uneducated fan, and I mean this very respectfully, meaning somebody that is not a professional manager, doesn't have licenses and things like that, somebody that can get to see the game and goes, "Oh wow, this is happening because we are predictable."
Mhm.
Then obviously our opponents are gonna see that. Well, what do you think about that, John? Because I mean, like I said, I watched the OC fan reacts after the game, and I also saw everything that was posted on social media, to an extent, obviously, because I'm not everywhere. But most of the fans just say, "Hey, we look predictable, and we knew this was coming."
Yep. So yeah, I mean, going back to the New York City goal, that's been our issue all year on defense, almost. Unless they, a couple of times they've gotten behind our center backs and had, essentially a breakaway.
Mhm.
But we get in big trouble, and I mean, it's not a lot of teams get in trouble. Is when we have a bad turnover in the midfield when we're trying to transition to our attacking half, and then we get caught in almost basically a half counter, and then it's almost like there's no communication on the weak side on the back post, and there's a guy or two standing wide open, um, ready to tap the ball in, and that's what if you're coming down the wing, you're trying to get it, either back post or to the penalty spot, depending
Mhm.
on what the situation is, and their professional soccer players are going to look at the situation and say, "Oh, the middle of the box is clogged up. I'm going to try to get this to the back post." And you know, New York did that, and the same things happened all season. As nobody was covering anybody on the back post, and it looked like it was a miss of communication between Cartagena and Antonio Carlos, which shouldn't happen with your veteran center back being there. He should, they need to communicate better on that back end, and they put it in. And yeah, I mean, if we can't, if the other team scores early, we're in trouble, period. Because we have, even still, even Saturday, as good of a match as that was, we struggle to score in full possession of the ball. Most of our goals, and this is just the way that we have to accept it, the team's going to be is going to be on a counter or a half counter, kind of getting the other team out. But so when the other team scores, and they're, as MLS typically does, they're going to sit back a little bit more, because it's more of a defensive league to some extent than an attacking league, except for a specific number of teams. We're going to have trouble scoring because we don't have the guys to put service in the box, or they haven't shown they can put service in the box when we have possession, when they're covered tightly and don't have time to look up and take their time to put a cross in.
Mm-hmm.
That's not taken away from what Gonzalez did. That cross into Carr was beautiful, and him heading it in was beautiful. It was a very, very good goal. Very good 1-2 passing between him and Facu at the beginning, and then a good cross. That's not to take away from him, but until they show they can score in possession, if we're tied or down first, especially at home, we're gonna be in trouble. In a lot of matches where we may not win, and look at our record at home this year. That kind of speaks for itself.
No, for sure, my friend. And I know that to conclude, because it's a game that there's not much to say. It was very uneventful. But it's just the cruelty of football. We say it all the time. Football's cool and unpredictable, and unfortunately, at home we were unable to finish and get our third win, which we all desperately need. Our home record is abysmal, one of the worst in MLS, going on 3 years. So, with that said, John, if you don't mind reading some of these comments here real quick.
Jerry Quackenbush brought 2 friends to their first ever OCSC match for the NYCFC game. They don't follow soccer, but they love sports and appreciate the beautiful game. Around the 65th minute, both guests asked why Orlando City stopped playing. Embarrassing. Yeah, absolutely. It was 65th minute. It was like park the bus and just hope they don't score. Jared said again, Florida is purple, referring to the match on Saturday. Jim D, I really thought when Campagna's goal went in, Poppy was going to bunker for the draw. To his credit, he did not. Thank goodness. Absolutely. We'll touch on the Miami game here in a minute.
No, for sure. And let's go to what everybody wants to talk about, which is the Miami game. I think, in all honesty, in-state rival, a derby, one that to me was gonna be a telltale sign of where we are, because both of our teams are pretty similar. Some talented players with some managers that are having trouble at the moment. Uh, 2 teams that play in the Florida humidity and heat, and it's just an interesting away day, because it's the closest we have, and obviously is always gonna be a well attended game by the visiting team. Something that 2 things I envy from my friends in Israel and in England is pitch invasions for celebrations, which I wish we had that here, because it's such a beautiful organic moment, and done in an orderly fashion. I think it will bring up the sport. Our football here is sometimes so sanitized that I think it's counterproductive. But that's just my 2 cents on that comment. And also the away day culture. I wish we had more of that. I understand our country's so big that it just doesn't give for that, but at least we get the illusion. And starting next year, we are going to be able to take the train down to Miami. So I think it's gonna be a great thing. Well, friends, we go to this derby that still doesn't have a name. Some call it the Florida Clásico, Copa del Sol. Uh, I don't know, the war on the turnpike. I don't know what to say. All I gotta say is that we were going in with great expectations. And I'm gonna before giving the microphone to John, this was my expectation when I sat down to watch the game. Which, by the way, for those um, that listen to it in English, I just want to tell you our legendary Miguel Gallardo was on the call. It was a color commentator for Spanish, and one of the things that upset me, John, was that uh, when you're watching the game, the preview before the game and all that in English, basically they're doing the same thing in Spanish, right?
Mm-hmm.
Same concept, but on the Spanish side, it seemed like they were just salivating over a man that is missing, a man that we sent out the dogs. They got his scent. We may be able to find him. We put out the milk cartons with a picture. A man that's missing, Joseph Martinez. I have to tell you one thing, John. This morning, my son, who's in high school, was telling me, Dan, I saw the seniors at school celebrating their graduation by screaming Joseph Martinez, and I said, David, what were they screaming Joseph Martinez? And he said, it's because they wanted everybody to know they're finished. So that's what happened. That's what happened today. I just wanted to share that quick story with you guys. That's the man is finished. He's nobody's dad. He needs to go to Maury to find out he's nothing. But anyways, jokes to the side. Um, Joseph Martinez, a non-factor, my friends. And aside from that, the fact is that I was stunned, John. I was stunned to see that we scored first in a cheeky move, and then after that, and I'll leave it here so you can take over. We could see that goal, and this was my belief. Here we go again, New York City all over. And I have to say it was a golazo. I think it was imprudent from us to allow a player of this caliber like Campana to just basically shoot unchallenged from top of the box. Go ahead, John.
Yeah, I mean the English broadcast. I don't know Spanish, unfortunately. Keep saying I'm going to learn it, but never put the time into it. Yeah, I mean the English broadcast was even worse. Jim D just commented on it, said about Sasha. I was going to bring that up.
Let's go ahead and take a look at it. Go ahead.
Yeah, Jim D said Sasha Keston, who played for Orlando City and was our captain for a little bit. Late in the Orlando City that Joseph will be OC's daddy again, blah, blah, blah. Blah, bad to hear from a former captain and player he wants to be the next Lawless. Yeah, I mean, they were laying into us. They were, it was borderline unprofessional. Daniel Phillips says Sasha can get bent. Yeah, I on my personal account, I typically don't tag celebrities to call them out or anything. I called him out. When I was watching it, that infuriated me. Really made what eventually happened on Saturday even better, especially seeing the way Joseph was whining and crying because, our guys did a good job against him, bottled him up. He didn't do much with the ball when the few times he got it, never got a shot off. Apple's coverage has been pretty good. That MLS 360 show they have with the pregame and during the games and everything. But Saturday was just really unprofessional how they all acted. Really catering towards the propaganda of.
Oh yeah, Miami. On the Spanish side, by the way, John, they said the daddy thing, so it's not exclusive. But go ahead.
Yeah. So I mean, but the MLS is going to propagate to Miami because they're, kind of under the, they still think somehow, even though I believe he officially signed for a team in the Middle East, that they're going to get Messi. But, all of us know that's not going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
But, it's just like the same treatment they used to give Atlanta. when Atlanta was winning titles. You know, that Miami's going to be the darling of the MLS until, you know, the MLS finds out, oh, they're actually a bunch of fake supporters, fake fans. You know, they have a fake culture down there. You know, when you have to sit there and recycle a tifo from your opening match and pump music or pump your mic'd up supporters around the stadium just to create
It
an
was a
atmosphere, and I can
purchase team.
still hear our 400 supporters that were there over top of you guys, there's a problem. I mean, our supporters, you know, came out and showed out on Saturday in ways that we haven't done even at home in a very, very long time.
Hmm.
It was very good to see, very good to hear. And nothing's better than beating your in-state rival, your closest rival, you know, the team that gets all the press in the state, all the national press in the state because of who their owners are. You know, it's a bought franchise. It's not even a club, it's a franchise. He bought it. You know, there's no organic support there. You know, I could go on bashing them because, you know, I hate them almost as much as I hate Atlanta. You know, they don't even
I
have
hate them
they
both.
don't even have a stadium, as all of us know, in Miami. It's in Fort Lauderdale. You know, until you have a stadium in the city you're named after, you know, you can't be a real soccer team. But yeah, I mean, it was a beautiful game. In my opinion, our most complete game. We had a, you know, a little bit of lapse there in the second half when Campagna scored that goal, and that was a great strike by him. A lapse on defense. Nobody closed down the space, and he took advantage of it, like, you know, a professional soccer player, a professional attacker is supposed to. Put in a good strike. Alessio almost had what would have been the save of the year. He got his fingertips on it.
Hmm.
And then, you know, like Jim D said in the comments early that he was afraid that, you know, we were going to try to pull out the Poppy special and pull away with the draw. And to his credit, he didn't. The subs were good. You know, were what we needed for the match. And then, you know, Kara's little cheeky touch to I've seen that in my dreams a couple times, to Ojeda wide open on the break was just a thing of beauty. And then the strike by Santos, the hold up by Maguire and the strike from Santos to cap it all off was beautiful. I haven't heard anything on Gonzalez, on Gaston's injury. I haven't seen anything on Twitter. Haven't had anybody
He was
reach out to
posting
me.
on Instagram.
You
So
did see it?
we,
Okay.
yeah. He hasn't. Nobody has said anything about his status
Yeah.
or how's he doing. I don't think it's anything serious because otherwise we would have heard
Yeah.
of it already.
And I saw him in the little celebration video that they posted. I did see him.
Yeah.
He wasn't jumping up and down, but he was at least in the locker room. So at least, you know, that, and I didn't see any ice or any type of wrap or anything on his leg. So that could be, you know,
No, for
that's
sure.
promising.
They one of the things that a friend of mine was telling me, who's Argentinian, is that um for first of all, in Argentina, they play mostly in the winter, in their winter there, our summer. And in most of the country, with the exception of the very, very, very northernmost tip of the country, it's subtropical to sub Antarctic. I just want to make sure that I'm saying that correctly, because Antarctic in the south, uh, Arctic in the north, right? So it's a country that it's, you know, the Argentinians are not known to put up with a lot of heat and humidity, and he's experiencing that here. I think that tightness that he felt, which I thought was perhaps a hamstring. I was hopeful, you know, I was very hopeful.
That's what I
It's,
thought
you know,
too.
it looks like it's not nothing major, but yeah, that tightness probably came from that. You know, they're getting
Mhm.
used to playing, and not for nothing. You know, that was his third game in what, 8 days. So obviously, we're hoping that he will be available at least as a sub on Saturday. We'll have to see, but what surprised me the most was that beautiful assist by Kara to Ticho Ojeda. I think it shows a lot of maturity, because he could have just turned around and run himself, but he realized, hey, my teammate, excuse me, is coming with a lot of speed, and he has his man beaten. It's a one-on-one. It was beautifully placed with a lot of power, silence the stadium. And then after that, Santos, who had tried several times to pull that goal off, and you can see it. If you review the highlights right before his goal, you can see that he tried once
Mhm.
before, but it was a little bit way off. And that was a fantastic assist by Duncan McGuire, who keeps impressing me.
Yep.
The guy is making a meal out of morsels of food that he's being given. He goes out there, he plays the minutes, and I was very impressed. I was very impressed with our performance. Now, thanks to that performance, Erchan Kara, who continues to score as he should because he's a DP and that's what he gets paid for.
Yep.
He also was named to the team of the week alongside with Oscar Pareja. One of the things that we have said in this show that we're very, very, very clear is that we don't want our team to lose. And we don't want to wish anything bad on the players and definitely on Oscar Pareja. Our loyalties, John's and I, is to the club, to the institution of Orlando City.
Color set.
Right, exactly. The colors, the club, the badge, right? And as long as you're wearing our colors, you're more than welcome. You're one of us, and we have said that regardless of what lays in the future for Oscar Pareja with this club, we always gonna see him as a legend. He will always have our gratitude, our opinion that we can do better is based really on the football, and that's that. I know that this past week on Twitter, and I have to be perfectly honest, I'm completely detached from Twitter. I'm not coming back. I don't have an account. So what I hear is what other people tell me and share with me is that there was a fan, somebody that who I know. I think I met him once. He's a young kid. I think fresh out of high school recently. And he made some comments, some criticism to the team. I did not read his tweets about it. I was told by somebody who used to work for the team that they were critical, but not in a disrespectful way, and that that one of the staffers, a person in the inner circle, I'm gonna reserve the name out of respect to that person. That person has been nothing but nice to me when I have spoken to him in person. And well, that person went and DM the fan in a way that I'm not gonna say it was unprofessional. I think it was just built out of frustration. So I'm not gonna vilify the act. I just think it just shows the pressure that they're under at the moment, uh, and one in which I think we're take it from me. We're all entitled to having. And I think we just lost John, and he should be coming back here pretty soon, guys. Um, so the there you are, John.
About that, David accidentally hit a button on my keyboard, and it went
No,
away.
no problem, brother. No problem. I'll be brief. And so, anyways, somebody who I know who was employed by the club at one point told me, "Hey, listen, I saw that. Is very unfortunate that that's happening, but there's a lot of pressure on Oscar Pareja. That is real. I can tell you that right now. There's real pressure on Oscar Pareja to win and win now. The Wolves were not very happy with the fact that we walked out of by walked out meaning we just had a poor performance in the Open Cup. They understand that what happened in CCL is just football being football. We just got knocked off on a silly rule, but there's real pressure on Oscar Pareja to produce. Oscar Pareja has to make playoffs and has to win at least one game if he wants to have a future uh, in Orlando City moving forward. That I can tell you that he has been given some bullet points, some metrics he has to meet in order to stay here. That's bottom line. Um, that's the minimum expectation from the Wolves. Make playoffs, win one game. End of the story. So, with that said, if we are not doing good by this summer, then the wheels will start turning. They will be respectful and to Oscar Parejano. They will let him know this summer what the club wants to do. That way, he can go ahead and start planning for his future. So, that's it. If Oscar, like I said, Oscar Pareja is gonna have to start winning games, and the minimum expectation is make playoffs, win one game if he wants to stay here. I personally think it's time to move on. I'm very clear with that. I'm not a hypocrite. I basically, like I have said to you guys, I stand firm on my opinion. That's all it is. It's just an opinion. And with that said, uh, if Oscar Pareja is extended for more years, I'll support him. Because again, I'm not supporting Oscar Pareja de Man. I'm supporting Orlando City, the institution. So, and I want us to win, and I want us to lift trophies and all that. So, with that said, I think for me at least, in the rest of the 2023 campaign, that's how where I'm gonna leave it as. We already know what's happening. We know, like I said, that Oscar Pareja has been giving his marching orders and all that. Now, I want to be very clear that the we extended an invitation to the fan that got in this. We're not even gonna call it an altercation to come on the show. He accepted, and then unfortunately he declined because of external pressures, and we want to respect that. I would like to read the response sent to him by the staffer. I'm gonna read it in Spanish, so there will be full clarity, and then I will also give the translation, and we're gonna leave it at that because again, we don't speak in intangibles and in abstracts. I always want to be very clear with you guys. So the message from this staffer, and I will read it in Spanish first, and then I'll do the translation. No sé quién sos, por lo menos paga para que te pongan el tilde azul. Desde el anonimato todo es simple. I don't know who you are, but at least pay for the blue check mark. From anonymity, everything is simple, and that's basically what he said. And obviously the fan just responded, hey, I didn't mean anything bad. I know it's frustrating, blah 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 blah. So that's basically what happened. And we're just gonna leave it at that. As for, I finished with this, so we can read one of the comments, and John can comment more on this. The situation with Sasha is how can I say this, is deplorable, because when Jose Martinez was calling Orlando City daddy and all that, Sasha, you were on the pitch. You were on the pitch when he was saying, "Hey, I'm your daddy." He was telling you that, not me, not John. We just some middle-aged dudes sitting in the stands, nursing our beers and our cracker jacks. That's how it is. He was telling you that you all sorts of names. He was calling you all sorts of names, laughing at you on all that. And if you are willing to say that, oh, he's Orlando City, that tells me there was no commitment and there was no real pride for the badge. You're a mercenary. You just came here to make some money, and losing or winning against Atlanta doesn't mean anything. And it shows, my friend, because to allow Jose Martinez to come here and mean mug our fan base and take his shirt off and make like he was smoking and putting it away on our pitch. You allow that to happen. Maybe if you would have been more of a player, you had more more garra, like we say in Spanish, more grit. You were a bigger man, a bigger footballer. You stood up to the big occasions. You elevated yourself to the level that you can, because you did it for the United States. You definitely did it for Red Bulls. You did it for Chivas USA. If you would have done all that in Orlando, there wouldn't be Joseph Martinez, a Finnish player, a scumbag with a pass that a glorious pass and a horrendous to see this man running around in pink as if he was at a tea party with little girls is amazing. So if you would have done all that, Sasha, then this man wouldn't be talking all sorts of crap. John, here's a comment.
Jim D. Carr also put his shoulder in a Miami player. It was great. I'm liking his fight lately. Yeah,
Yes.
since the heat's been put on him by Duncan, it seems like he stepped his game up. Which
No, absolutely.
in sports, everybody says competition is great, especially between teammates, and this is showing it. He really didn't have any competition whatsoever. Yeah, we had Tesho last year, but Tesho wasn't gonna that late in his career wasn't gonna be a test.
Right.
And I'm going to even go deeper on the Sasha thing because it irked me so bad on Saturday. The guy wants to sit here and act like when he's on his little streaming show that MLS has on Apple, that he was that he was such a good soccer player and all this and all that. The man didn't do anything when he didn't have 2 or 3 other players in the attack with him. Look what he did here in Orlando. Look what he did outside of Red Bulls. Look what he did on the Team USA. Yeah, he had a couple good performances, but who were they against? They weren't against Mexico. They weren't against Canada or anybody in CONCACAF that's up to snuff, if you will. The guy was here. It's clear, like you said, David, he was clear to collect a paycheck. And that was it. And, like I said in my tweet, he was a scumbag on the pitch. He's a scumbag off the pitch. And, he probably did that just to try to irk us, try to get views or whatever. But what he did is just so unprofessional to sit there and harp on a former squad, especially when you played for that club and you played during some of our worst days as a club. I have no loyalty to him. He's a former player, cool, but that obviously doesn't mean much to him, and it means even less to me, and should mean less to the rest of our supporters. I dare him to step foot in Orlando and do a pregame show. Not that anything bad will happen to him, but we're going to be very.
I will boo him. Yeah,
feel about him. Yeah, and then the whole staffer messaging supporter, I was right there on top of it, kind of keeping David up to date on him, on what was going on. And, the good thing is the staffer did reach out to the supporter, to the fan. They did have a phone conversation through one of the messaging and call apps. And, apparently, according to the fan, the conversation went very well. The coach was apologetic, owned up to what he did, said he made a mistake, David. We all know what people have bad times. And, so at least he did that. That was the right thing to do.
That's awesome to hear, John.
Yeah, it was to fess up to it, to own up to it in a private manner, made it seem really sincere and everything. And, I talked to the fan over the weekend a little bit, and he did say he was okay with us talking about it because he said, hey, it's a topic and it's a good topic. So anybody that thinks he may have any issues with that, he said he was perfectly fine with us talking about it tonight. And the one thing the staffer did ask during his conversation with the fan was that we're still there to support the boys and everything. And like I said before, the supporters really did show out for the team, and the team showed out for us on Saturday, which was great to see, and hopefully, I'm still think it's time for us to find a new manager even after Saturday, but I hope Saturday's form continues. If Saturday's form continues throughout the rest of the year, sign the man to a lifetime contract, especially if we win the way we look Saturday. And if this team can take that and improve on that, we will be facing LAFC in the MLS Cup. That performance Saturday was a performance that we haven't seen since the Red Bulls game, and I think we even knew in the Red Bulls game that was kind of a mirage of what was going on. We were on top of it that day. The Red Bulls weren't, and it was the perfect.
Listen, John, the one thing I would love to do is for Oscar Pareja to prove me wrong.
Yeah. Oh, 100%.
The only reason why we keep saying, hey, let's move on is because we're stagnant. Yep. And, I want to win. I want to lift trophies. And if Oscar Pareja is not going to take us there, then it's time to wish him well and thank him and move on. And about the staffer, I would like to say that I am so incredibly pleased to hear this, because that's the type of character that this man has displayed when I have talked to him in person. And to me, the beauty of this is, we are all human. This is his job. I know that they love living here. They love being part of this organization. And perhaps that came out of frustration. Perhaps they we don't know the hours that they put into trying to get the wins, and to get an equalizer that late in the game is frustrating. So yeah, absolutely. I am pleased to hear that, and I know the fan definitely appreciate that, and like I said, I with my team Stevenage this past week, we had the retaining list, players that had to come and players that had to go. And we had to say goodbye to a lot of good people that helped get the team promoted. Some guys, natives to Stevenage. So, unfortunately, in this beautiful game that we love, it's a business. And sometimes in order to get to the next step, we have to part ways with people, and it's never personal. But I don't think that a lot of people that are in the sport of football take it like that, take it like personal. They just understand, okay, my time here has come to an end. It's time to move on. So yeah, friends, that's what I wanted to talk about. I think this game, something to build on, John. Absolutely. And the support was fantastic. One of the things I wanted to mention to you is that Miami, who is second to last in attendance, has been averaging about 12,000 fans per game. This last game, that number was close to 16. And I will hate to say that difference between 12 and 16 was Orlando City fans, because if that was, friends, we're talking about, what, 5K right there. That's impressive. That is, because I know that the supporter groups had their section, but I saw it throughout the stadium. There was, if we can call it a stadium, there was people there in big purple blotches. And one thing that I can take to my grave was seeing when Santos scored that goal. John, you could see in the corners people evacuate. You would have thought there was a fire
drill. Woo! It was a fire drill. Santos scored, and everyone was like, "Oh, see ya, we're done."
Wow,
beautiful.
And you know what? We have been embarrassed before in our house. We had lost games. I have never. I'm yet to see, and I'm saying this with all the honesty, John. I have never seen. I mean, literally, this was. The way I can describe it is as if people were in a garden hose. Somebody opened the garden hose and just started spewing people. It was insane. And if you don't believe me, go watch the highlights, John. I mean, it was insane.
Yeah. Look at the videos all over social media. I mean, there's plenty of. I mean, it was a beautiful sight. You love to see that.
And and I feel bad for them. They had the little flags, rivalry week, and all that. Listen, the fact of the matter is that I don't feel bad. I don't feel bad for a fan base that staged these fake events where people were turning in their purple shirts and getting Miami shirts. That never happened. I mean, if you have to stage that, that's ridiculous. Your tifos are store bought. We were told in social media because your fan base is that dumb, leaking the next tifo, which is Neville out. Uh,
And it's the most.
please.
It looks like it's black and white, the most basic tifo you could ever have.
Yes, and I gotta tell you this. I gotta tell you this with all the honesty. Regardless of the situation with Oscar Pareja, we have that much respect and affection for our manager that even when we feel that it's time to move on, you don't see people in the stadium, certainly not a supporter group doing a tifo saying that your manager has to go. Not, I mean, listen, me and supporter groups, we had our issues. They're well public, but I have to give them to them on that. That they as long as you're our dude, we gotta go bat for you every single time. And friends, that's not the way to go. But again, this is, I understand their frustration because when they came into the league, I remember Atlanta fans telling them, "Oh, you're gonna love beating Orlando. You're gonna love it." And I remember them getting together for the group picture outside of that former what is it, pay and pool junkyard at the where they built their stadium, or
Mhm.
if that's what you want to call it. And and they're taking pictures between the supporters. Listen, I'm embarrassed for you. I'm embarrassed for you. So you thought it was gonna be easy, and it wasn't. Because the fact of the matter is that Orlando City, and you know what? Seeing the video of them dancing and singing Orlando Llegó, to me, it may be the start, John, of something beautiful,
Yep.
regaining this spirit. Because I have said before, the club has to win the games that matter to the fans.
Yep.
We got another just a couple of comments here, John, if you don't mind.
Jim D, the Neville out situation in Miami is cracking me up. Kind of ironic that it was Perea to put the nail in Neville's coffin.
Oof, believe it or not, right?
Yeah. Ryan Jensen, David, what a match! So nice to see.
No, absolutely. I mean, thank you for that comment, Ryan. I mean, the fact of the matter is I was very surprised. I was watching the game at the Orlando City Fan TV watch party on YouTube. I recommend it if you want to be among a group of friends, right? These virtual friends, and I remember saying before the game, the beginning of the game, I said I think it's gonna be a 3-2. That was my prediction. They're like, what? Orlando City with 3 goals, and I don't know. I've been watching enough football. I feel it. And when the first the when they tied it, I was like, oh, maybe it's not gonna happen. But after Ojeda scored, I was like, man, that third goal came in. It was just beautiful. Look, it was humiliation. And there's a guy, there's a troll for Miami. I think it's Miami football something. I don't know, some idiot that likes to have pictures of my kids and my wife, make fun, and then blocks me on all social media. So I can respond to him, of course. He hides behind an account with no real name, no picture. Uh, this guy, I remember him coming into the league saying, "Oh, after we defeat Orlando, there's not gonna be any fans left." I was sending pictures of the guy crying on social media, on Twitter, that he's tired of losing to Orlando. Listen, last year you had your opportunity. We won the Open Cup, a tournament you're not winning this year. We had 2 days of rest, and you had your way with us, and you made playoffs, and you said, "Oh, look at us, we are ready to take playoffs by storm." Nothing happened. you and one of the things is we have never lost at home. So when you come up here, pretty soon, we're gonna put the sauce on your tacos, my friend, because you are nothing. You're nothing. You're just nobody knows you are there. I go to South Florida often, and I ask people, hey, do you know what Inter Miami? And they're like, is that a clothing store? Nobody knows. Nobody knows who you are. Nobody knows. Your stadium dry pink. I mean, come on. I mean, like, I don't know. I think we have talked enough about Miami to ruin my appetite, and so let's talk about a little bit. Let me see here. Um, let's dive in a little bit into the feel good Kool-Aid for the night, John. Um, after what you saw Saturday, is this because one of the things that I always tell people is if we win, it's indicative that Oscar Pareja has to stay, according to those that still support him. And if he loses, the result of the game is not an indication of his ability to manage this club. Okay, we won. Beautiful. We won against an in-state rival. We got 3 points. We are, shooting for the moon. Does Orlando City still have deficiencies that need to be corrected?
Absolutely. I mean, the stats don't lie, and where we are on the season. Saturday was a step in the right direction. It didn't jet stream us to the right direction. This next Saturday can even be a step, maybe 2 or 3 steps in the right direction, because we win Saturday at home against arguably our biggest rival, because they've beat us before, unlike Miami, who's only beat us once. With plastic
3 times, I believe.
3 times, whatever it is, not much. We get to play Plastics FC at home. Another franchise that was bought by their rich owner. Very little authentic support on their end. It feels very bought whenever you see them chanting and all of that. So we win Saturday, we can jump up to, I believe it's as high as 4th. But either way, we will be tied with them then. It all depends on what happens, and there's 2 teams between us and 4th, I believe, maybe 3. And if we win Saturday, we'll definitely jump a little bit, and it will get us a home win and a win against our biggest rival. So that's 2 that those 2 alone are massive steps in the right direction, and then we get to potentially make another big jump in the table. But
John, let me interrupt you there for a second,
Yeah.
my friend. I'm sorry. If we were to defeat Atlanta, best we can do is 5th, because unfortunately on goal differential, unfortunately we cannot pass them, because we will be basically tied, wins, losses, ties, and the tiebreaker will be the goal differential. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, you're fine. I was thinking points tied for 4th anyway. But yeah, either way, we'll be tied on points for 4th place, which is a huge jump compared to where we were this time, a week ago, basically. So yeah, I mean, Atlanta gives up a lot of goals, but they also score a lot of goals.
Mm-hmm.
So the game's right there for our taking if our defense does their job and has a solid performance, like they did against Miami. Not let them really get excuse me any chances. Close them down up top 20, 25 yards out. We'll have a very good shot to win Saturday. But the Miami game was definitely a step in the right direction. It doesn't mean, in my opinion, that the team is cleared of any wrongdoing throughout the season, if you will. The stats are still there to show that we're not a very good soccer team at this point in the season, but continue the momentum from Saturday, build on it and build up a little bit of momentum, beat Atlanta on Saturday, and they will be well on their way to, righting their wrongs that have happened early this season and end of last season.
No, fantastic. I'm sorry that I'm not ignoring you, John. I'm
Yeah,
just
you're good.
going over our social media.
Yeah.
Um, and
I'll keep going. Yeah, I mean, the good thing that came out, this season especially, I've never seen. Now I'm only on Twitter. I don't have a Facebook, but Twitter, the fan base is extremely united in celebrating the win
mhm.
this week, which is amazing to see. Usually, Orlando City Twitter, it's one polarizing side against the other polarizing side, and there's no middle ground. You almost have to choose or be silent, if you will. So it's been a very good 2 days on Orlando City Twitter. We'll see what happens tomorrow to split everybody up and make people choose sides. And that was honestly the cool thing about the coach messaging the fan is everybody agreed that the coach was in the wrong for doing it, and then stood behind the supporter. Um, we do have a new comment, David, if you want to pull that up real
Yeah,
quick.
my friend. I'm sending an invitation to
You're good.
somebody. So hopefully that person will be able to join us.
Definitely.
And there we go.
Jim D, realistic, I'd be fine with a good performance and a draw. I need to see consistent, decent play. Yeah, listen, if Saturday comes and it's a 3-3 draw and both teams are out there flying and goals are coming left and right and it's a hard fought, good soccer match, awesome. That's still a step in the right direction, better than a 1-1 draw where we score first and then sit back for 80 minutes hoping to absorb their pressure, and then inevitably they score a goal to tie it. I do expect Saturday has a great potential to be a 3-3 draw, 4-3, something like that, where it's going to be
Mm-hmm.
a really, really fun match because of the way Atlanta plays. We got to go out there with the intensity. The team has to go out there with the intensity that they came out with the last couple matches to start with, and with the Miami match, basically the full match. And I like our chances. Atlanta's not something special like they have been in past years. Take out
Right.
the last two. They do have a couple young players on their team that are doing
I
very
might
well.
be leaving in the summer, by the way, for the sound of things.
Exactly. Yeah. So
Um,
they may be looking like they have one foot out the door already, and we have a very good chance to come away with a victory. But either way, I think it'll be an exciting game on Saturday, one of the most exciting games of the season.
no, I believe you when you say that, my friend. For me, it's gonna be the first home game in a month. Like I said, unfortunately, I wasn't unable to be there this past Wednesday. Um, Winning against Atlanta, I think, in my opinion, my humble opinion, we need to defeat Atlanta simply for the psychological aspect of it. You have to bury. To me, we're not burying the bad era. The he's your daddy. He's breaking records. Are winning everything. You're not burying that era until you defeat them soundly and you bring them back to earth. One of the things I used to say back in those days is this is not sustainable. It's not sustainable. And we play their academy, or not their academy, but their MLS Pro game last Friday, ended in a tie. We had to come from behind and beat them. Unfortunately, they won the that shootout they do at the end to give the winner an extra point.
Yeah.
Not I'm not too crazy about that. But as an organization that have invested heavily on players that they can develop so they can sell. And I told many of their fans, be careful that you don't become the Chicago Fire of the new millennium. And what I mean with that is Chicago Fire came into the league in 1998, won Open Cup and MLS Cup that same year, and I believe they either did the supporter shield or they missed it by very few points. and since 1998 they have been nothing. Unfortunately, they have been nothing, and that's the risk that Atlanta runs after Tata Martino left that organization. Yeah, they all won the Open Cup, but I mean, come on, they won it against USL team in St. Louis, a bad Orlando City game, bad Orlando City team. I'm sorry, that did them a favor by not playing a MLS starting 11 when they came down here, which I think it was James O'Connor's biggest blunder.
And we still almost beat them. They're
Yeah,
class third
exactly.
over our C team, but we still gave them a run and almost beat them.
Absolutely, absolutely. And lastly, they played Inchi, and they were this much away from having to go into extra time and because God knows what would have happened. So again, you gotta beat them. You gotta beat them. You gotta psychologically, you gotta beat them because their fan base gets hammered really really bad when we get to rub it in their face, because they all they have seen is Orlando City getting better and better and better while they keep getting worse and worse and worse. They had a game against Chicago this past weekend away. They went down to 10 men. So did Chicago. Chicago came from behind to tie it. It was a 3-3 affair, and I just saw an Atlanta that got battered and that did not do very well, being on a visiting team, and that's why it's critical that this Saturday we have to make that a very hostile environment. We have to make noise. We have to come support the boys. If you don't have any tickets, go ahead and buy them. Bring friends that have not seen Orlando City. I think the boys are inspired. They're coming, fresh out of 2 games where they show grit. And if you want to include the one in Columbus, let's just say, be honest, we came from behind. That's has to account for something. So I think coming home to a big stadium, full stadium, is gonna do wonders. So I encourage all of you to come in and support the boys. Last, do you have anything to add about this before we move on?
No, I mean just show up. I mean I'm bringing my brother. Really, the only last thing I have to add. Bring my brother. I'm bringing my brothers flying down intentionally this weekend. We planned for this weekend because it's the Atlanta match. I said, James, I really want you to come to a match. What's some weekends that you can come? And he gave me a list of weekends, and I said, you're coming down for that match. It's another rivalry match, another derby, if you will. Bring who you can. I know Jared's going to bring his people. He always does a good job of doing it. If you need tickets, keep your eye to Twitter. There's almost always a ticket or two available that you can pick up for free or very cheap. I know I saw on Ticketmaster, I looked earlier today,
Mm-hmm.
still plenty of tickets left. There's still tickets available on the wall. Let's get that place jam-packed, have our first full sellout of the season, get all 25,000 people, whatever the number is. Get that place jam-packed and really show the squad we're there behind them. Show them, hey, we understand, it's a soccer season. Teams go through highs and lows. We just went through a low the last 2 months. It's May now, middle of May. Let's get this thing to
Oh yeah, brother. I mean,
rocking and rolling.
yeah, absolutely. I mean, June is just what, a week away. So I mean, the fact of the matter. And by the way, this Friday is the last day of school in Orange County. Uh, Teachers like my wife are counting the days. So before anything, before I forget, we continue to move on. I want to thank and congratulate all the graduating seniors in everywhere. But primarily here in Central Florida. It's a great accomplishment. 29 years ago, yours truly, walked down, got my diploma, and told everybody to go suck a lemon. So it's I know it's an incredible moment. So I want to congratulate. I know there's a lot of Orlando City fans that are going into the real world, going to college, going into the military. So we want to make sure that the first thing you pack as you leave town to pursue your dreams is your Orlando City jersey. And just remember that no matter where you go, you're never walking alone, my friend. You're with Orlando City fans anywhere you go. Also, to those graduating from college, congratulations. Welcome to the world of adults paying for student loans. I graduated over a decade ago. I'm still paying for my student loans, making a crap load of money. But unfortunately, I have a wife and two kids that manage to overspend how much money I'm making. So that's that, my friend. So congratulations to all of you guys. So with that said, I want to add this real quick. I want to touch base about Open Cup. I know that we're out of it, but it's a tournament that brings me a lot of joy. A lot of happiness. I'm always been have been a big proponent of the Open Cup tournament. And if you don't have anything going on tomorrow, I think I encourage you to. I mean, there's gonna be a ton of games for you to watch. And if you want to be a hater, what better night than tomorrow? We have at 7:30 New York City visiting since New York City play Cincinnati playing at New York City. I'm sorry. Nashville at Miami. Definitely, you don't want to miss that one. I hope Miami loses. And I mean, if in a perfect world both clubs lose, but somebody has to win. Then you're gonna have Houston and Minnesota. I'm obviously gonna be rooting for Ainchi no matter what. And then on the 15th billion edition of the El Clasico, 10:30 for all you night owls. LAFC with receiving LA Galaxy. That long 15-mile between stadiums. I hope that the players don't get fatigued in that $20 Uber ride from their stadium to LAFC's. And Wednesday, Pittsburgh against Columbus. I'm rooting for the Pittsburgh, the USL team. They gave us hell back in the USL era, and I'm definitely wishing them a lot of good things. In the Canadian Championship, Montreal is going to be facing Forge FC. Birmingham, another USL team against Charlotte. Of course, I'm going to be rooting against Charlotte. I want them to lose. Austin is going to be receiving Chicago. Pacific FC is going to be receiving Vancouver in the Canadian Championship, and rounding up USL. Rounding up the U.S. Open Cup, Colorado receiving Salt Lake City. So there's a lot of football that definitely is going to be a factor this coming up weeks. And again, we're wishing Nashville and Miami and Cincinnati and both LA teams and Columbus and Charlotte and Austin, all those teams. I'm wishing them nothing but negative things, nothing but rainy days, nothing but pain and suffering, because we don't care about none of you. And I still think that in my eyes, we're still champions until one is crowned. So there you go. There's another message there, John. If you can do the honors.
Marico Suave, what's up, David? I'm late to the pod.
Listen, it's never late, because the beauty of this is it's recorded. You can start from the beginning and enjoy every second. Thank you, Muy Rico Suave. And thank you for the message on my latest post on my on my vlog. I have resumed vlogging in Spanish. I have unfortunately neglected for about 3 or 4 months the Spanish audience that I have built on the channel. My apologies to them. Facundo's dad even said, "Hey man, you were the guy keeping me informed about what's going on." and I'm like, you're someplace for the team. You can't ask. So, but I know what he's saying. It obviously hear it from somebody else. So I'm starting to do that. I'm gonna start to do that more often. Um, aside from obviously the show. So I wanna thank all you guys that went and watched that. I want to encourage everybody, John. I want to encourage everybody to share the show with friends. I want to thank the 11 people that are live with us. We're a small community. We're a boutique type podcast. I know other places that have bigger audiences, but quite honestly, are you being entertained? Are you being informed? The answer is no. It's boring. Yeah, because it's what the club wants you to hear, not what you need to hear. And anyhow, the like I said, the we can be found on every application where you consume your podcast in audio form. As you can see, the ticket underneath. We're on Twitch. We're on YouTube. We're on Facebook. We're on Twitter live at the moment. You're free to come to the show. I sent requests to one person, and I don't think that person's gonna make it because at this point, I think we're wrapping up things. But we're encouraging everybody. Listen, you don't have to agree with John and I in order to be on the show. We want to be a platform. We're gonna treat you with all the respect in the world, and it's not gonna be a bickering or anything. We're just gonna let you talk. And if you go and see all the other shows that we had, it's open mic. You get to see everything. Say anything that you want. Obviously, the only two rules that we have is to use proper language and be respectful to the panel and to the audience. Other than that, man, you can say pretty much anything. So, John, this Saturday, 7:30, all roads in Central Florida lead to six
Mhm.
fifty five West Church Street, Exploria Stadium. I'm hoping that we have a win. Um, any expectations for this Saturday? And the answer is the question is, are you gonna be there as well?
Yeah, I will be there. My brother will be there. Girlfriend will be there. Little guy will be there. Hopefully, we're able to get in early enough to be a couple rows up from the Ruckus Kids section to give the Atlanta fans warming up a little piece of our mind and remind them about how plastic they are.
Yeah.
Honestly, for the match, I said it before. I think it has the great possibility of being a high scoring match if this team comes out with the intent to score goals um, and continues that intent throughout the full 90 minutes like they did this past week.
Mm-hmm.
We could see one of the most entertaining games, regular season games anyway, on the MLS calendar this year. Period. It could be 3-3. It could be 4-4. Hopefully we're able to suppress their attack. Like I said before, they score a lot of goals, but they give it up. I think I looked and it was I got it written down, the third most goals. They're tied for second. I'm sorry. Most goals in the MLS they've given up, and then they're right up there. I believe they've scored the most goals um, in the MLS this year. So they score them and they give them up. Sounds like us when we first came into the MLS. We all remember how exciting those matches were, even though we didn't win many of them.
Mm-hmm.
But I think we have a great chance. On paper, we have a better team than them. Honestly, if our defense shows up, we should win anyway. But it should be a very entertaining game for everybody watching, and hopefully, we're the ones that come out happy at the end.
Absolutely. So that's that, my friends. This Saturday, the 27th, 7:30 at Orlando, and then after that, we're gonna be hitting the road. We're going to go to Red Bulls Arena in Harrison, New Jersey. A place where last time we were there, we tasted victory, and we need to recoup that momentum. If I have to say it, if we win Saturday and we go to Red Bulls and we get a result, then it's time to be reconsidering where we are as a club, because then that means that Oscar Pareja probably is pulling the impossible. We're gonna be returning after this game to Exploria on the 10th against Colorado Rapids, a game that I'm looking forward to. My friend Callum is gonna be coming from England with his girlfriend and family. Last year, they joined me for 2 games at Exploria, and I haven't seen them since. And obviously, when we see each other, he's bringing some goodies for from the club shop at Stevenage, and obviously we have so much to talk about our beautiful um, uh, promotion season. Which, to my surprise, the runner up, the team that finishes second in League Two, gets a trophy. So this year, all three of my clubs got me the pleasure of seeing them lift a trophy. That doesn't happen every day. That doesn't happen every season. So I am super excited about that. So with that said, friends, I want to encourage all of you. I'm on Instagram at the underscore Florida underscore man 76. If you want to follow me, I don't post all the time, but it's a way to stay in contact with me. Of course, we encourage you to follow all our applications at on the Capo Stand on Facebook. We're on the Capo Stand podcast, and the YouTube channel is David's Channel 76. So we encourage you to just liking the video. All that does is that the YouTube will recommend the video to like-minded Orlando City fans. So we would like to grow the community. If you enjoy the content, obviously you want other people to enjoy it as well. And a subscription, even better. We have said it. This costs us money. So if we get to reach the 1,000th, the limit, the magic number that YouTube has established, then the channel can cover itself, and then that way, we don't have to lie to our wives that we're gambling or we actually have addiction problems, because it makes sense to say that rather than saying, dear, I'm wasting money on podcasting. So John, any last words before we go? And we have a comment here. I'm sorry, my friend, I was about to ignore it.
Mariko Suave said their DPs show up, meaning Atlanta. The team doesn't. If our DPs show up, the matches are ours. Absolutely, that's shown.
No, I agree 1,000% on that.
This year.
Go ahead, John.
You can find me on Twitter at thatboyjrdub. On Instagram is jrdub15. Let's bring home a win. Let's be there for the boys Saturday. We got a long weekend, so you have an extra day to let your voice recover. Let's be loud, and let's support them on to that dub on Saturday night.
No, absolutely. And friends, what way to rest on a Saturday to recharge our energy after the long week? It's going to the stadium and cheering on our boys. So I encourage all of you to do that. And thank you again for being with us tonight. And hopefully we'll be seeing you guys next Monday, 9 p.m. as always. So with that said, we'll like to say goodbye to you guys the only way we know how, to remind you that the beautiful game of football is for those that don't mind having their mouths smashed and their hearts broken. That's what football is all about, friends. From John, from myself, may God bless you. And as always, vamos, Orlando.